Hey guys, Colton here from the EV Kingdom, and welcome to part 4 of What If RWBY Was a Speedster. And if you see any future videos of mine and hear if I'm exhausted or something, it's because I'm going to be pre-recording a lot of videos to make up for the lack of uploads. Also, I made sure to focus on this part because there's a lot I'm gonna be talking about. Anyways, in the last part of the video, in the last part, I basically went over the latter half of Volume 3 because the first half, the entire tournament stuff, doesn't really change. RWBY would only participate in the first match because it's a team on team, full team on team. The second matches were 2-on-2, with the finals being 1-on-1. So, not really much would change, and I didn't believe RWBY would actually participate after the first match, to give everyone a fair chance. Anyways, with the latter half of Volume 3, a lot really did change. And things I haven't really mentioned before in some what-ifs, or at least much, which will be mentioned later on in the video. But I will say this: I left a poll in my community post, and also asked you guys in the video, to leave a comment on what you believe would happen. I left it up for a few days after posting, and right now I think there's a common consensus for the first outcome, so I'll be going with that for right now. But I will have ideas later if you do want to hear that. I'll just probably have to make it into a short or something. But yeah, basically the attack on Beacon happened, and Mercury tried stalling RWBY, so Penny would possibly be, what happened to her in canon, but he wasn't expecting RWBY to just grab him and basically put him in the middle of the arena where everyone can see him. And again, they were moving so fast he didn't even realize until a few seconds afterwards. So yeah, and I'm just gonna say this: for any time I end up having Mercury and be revealed to be fine and with robotic legs, I'm gonna say they haven't fully forgiven Yang for attacking him, but they'll be more inclined to believe the whole something is fishy going on with it, and give her a pass. Yes, especially since he has robotic legs, so him acting out in pain would not really make any sense. Which led to Penny still being alive, which I will get to in part 5, because I think it might end there in my preparations for this. But yeah, the falls still happened, but I mostly emphasized on what happened to Cinder. And since everyone believed in part 1, the first outcome, Cinder was fighting RWBY after John came, and her not wanting it to be a 3-on-1, or just trying to get some form of superiority, or even make an opportunity for her to run. She tries throwing a spear at him. Pierre gets in the way. She dies, sadly. And RWBY activates her silver eyes, which Cinder still gets hit by. Alright, now, Volume 4. Sorry, that took a lot longer than normal. I basically rambled on. My bad. Anyways, Volume 4. I'm actually going to go over Yang and Blake's part here. Normally, I just leave those be because nothing really changes when we get to this point. Here, we do actually get a change, even if it's subtle. So I'll be going over what happens to them in volumes 4 and 5 since they're connected. And, and I'll go over Yang's since hers doesn't change that much. Also, for anyone wondering, Weiss's side of the story doesn't change at all. Well, maybe she's more eager to run away. But it doesn't really change much. Now, here Blake didn't run away from Yang. And if you've seen the last part, you know Blake and Yang actually made Adam run away, which they just left him after that. I'll get to Adam later. But yeah, Blake, during the ending where Ruby was at home recovering, Blake was there to make sure Ruby was alright. And then left, letting Yang know that she's going home to keep an eye, help, or check on her parents. I'll get to that reasoning later. Yang also didn't lose her arm, which honestly isn't a big thing, but it does mean Yang isn't sitting around being depressed, so she has more time to actually train, and so she can better help her sister, than she could have before. Or Anti also helps her not use her semblance as much, so yeah, that's honestly everything that happens with Yang. With Blake, as I already said, she went home to check on her parents because Adam is still part of the White Fang, and she's no longer terrified of him. But she's going over to make sure they're alright, and Adam isn't planning anything with them, and also to let them know what happened. And Iliad still does her thing, that group of the White Fang still attacks, and they still go onto the academy to stop the White Fang from blowing it up. Now, I will mention with Adam, there's a slight change with his personality, his side of things. Nothing really big right at the moment. Remember how in Volume 6, at the end of Volume 5, he ran, and during Volume 6, it seems like he basically no longer had a place with them because of it? Well, he's still very popular. The fall of Beacon did happen. But I can easily see when he says no one's gonna side with you, some of the guards with her actually do point their weapon towards Adam. They get executed in the process. But I could see the White Fang being split on Adam now. And maybe a few, not a lot of them, but a few you leave and unironically join Blake Inc. at the end. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to mention, and from their sides. Now, the big thing is RWBY. Now, Volume 4 really isn't going to change much in terms of story. In some of the battles, I think they would go a lot faster. The one with the golem, I can still see going around the same, but RWBY's just a lot faster, and instead of using her semblance, she's using her speed. The Tyrion fight, I do assume Cinder at least told them how fast RWBY is. Tyrion not really knowing the full scale of how fast she is. Also, RWBY has been training with her speed and Team Ranger. So Team Ranger's battle speed, combat speed has improved as well. And RWBY also improved her natural speed as well. Yeah. And, okay. But yeah, Tyrion wasn't expecting it, and I can see the fight still going in their favor, but possibly no one gets poisoned, and when Crow joins in, Tyrion's definitely more on the back foot than he was before. Or again, he's still the better fighter in terms of skill, but RWBY is just a lot faster than he's used to. And the final fight in Volume 4, I remember a comment saying that it would still happen no matter which path they took because the Grimm and followed the negative emotions to the town. And so I'm still gonna go over it, and no matter which path they choose. Yes, and again, Ruby's just a lot faster than she normally is. So, yeah, she just starts eating through everything. No real issue, whatsoever. Here, Ren still has his moment of honoring his family, and they still get into the next town. Oscar arrives and they train. Now, all the reunions still happen as in canon, and Ruby's also still training with Hand to Hand to get better acquainted with it. Now, we get to the fight. Sorry for that being loud. But yeah, we get to the fight. And here's where things are different. Before, Ruby just got there. Well, in canon, Ruby just got there and witnessed all of it. So, it was just sadness running through. Here, Ruby was actually there, keeping her on her toes, and then Pyrrha died. So Ruby has a little bit more regrets, like if I was faster, I could have stopped her. If I didn't give her time to breathe, could I have stopped her? Sure. So Ruby has regret. Seeing Cinder after that, yeah, Ruby, at this point, Ruby doesn't give Cinder time to breathe. He's basically speed blitzing her non-stop. And again, Ruby has techniques that can actually counter a lot of what Cinder can do. She can absorb or choke out the flames he produces, Cinder could produce. And a lot of her weapon attacks, Ruby can just phase through. Not to mention, Ruby can throw lightning at long distances. So Ruby's not giving Cinder a chance. Hence to even and get at a moment to breathe. Let alone throw another spear. The other fights would still go the same, and John would also be slashing at Cinder, and Cinder basically being preoccupied with Ruby. He does get a few hits in. John does get a few hits in on her. But I do see him still seeing White's in trouble and going to help her. Or maybe in that fight, White gets severely hurt. John unlocks his semblance and gives White a power-up. Anyways, this would basically keep going until Leon. I forget his name. The the cowardly lion and professor unlocks it, and I think Emerald's the one that gives Cinder enough time, realizing that she's in danger. Mercury handling a lot of the foes, and basically letting Cinder get an opportunity to even get to the elevator by using her semblance on Ruby. Ruby does not have any illusion immunity or resistance. So yeah, Cinder gets away and gets down there, which still leads to her facing Raven, but more of she doesn't even give them a small opportunity after unlocking the door. Or because at this point, Cinder believes she needs the other maiden's power right now to even face her. And keep in mind, she wasn't thinking of escape. Ape and canon, so I don't think she wouldn't hear. That fight would still happen, and Cinder's much weaker here. She's more exhausted, she got a lot more blows in. Odds are her aura's if it didn't break during her fight with Ruby, it's breaking with her fight with Raven. And I do see Cinder not making it out of this one. And so, yeah, you can make an argument saying she somehow survives, but I just don't see it right now. She's just way too exhausted, and Raven's not the type of person to just let someone go. No, keep in mind, she did that in an attempt to get rid of her. Yeah. Raven did all of that in an attempt to actually get rid of Cinder. Or in the process. Now, I don't think naturally you can stack maiden powers onto each other. So even if Cinder was thinking of Raven before she died, Raven's not going to get the power. And originally I thought Emerald could, but after thinking it through and also thinking of how Cinder's mentality is, I don't think so. So in other words, it would go to the person she would be thinking of for ruining everything. Yeah, and this what if I'm going with Ruby becoming the Fall Maiden. And I'm only doing this because it makes the most sense. Ruby's the one who did the most damage to her. Or even, throughout the entire, what if. If Ruby was just faster, and slowly started overpowering everything she could do. So her obsession would actually lead to Ruby in getting the maiden powers. But instead of a conversation like Penny had with Winter during their maiden transfer, I think Cinder would try one more time to just prove she was better. Or knowing what's going on, I think. Again, I don't know if Cinder knows what's going on with the transfer, or since she basically stole it. So it's gonna be like how Naruto got KCM1 from Kurama. So, anyways, going back to up there before that moment happens, Mercury tries stopping Yang from going there. Ruby, he helps her sister. Or Yang just punches him in the face. He's making him let go and then going down, so that conversation will be happening. And they just basically have an easier time in defeating Cinder's group. Ruby gets a sharp pain in her head as the transfer is happening. And Ruby already had the advantage. Here, I don't think her exhaustion would play a factor in that wherever that area was. As in their subconscious, their mindscape. But yeah, I do see Ruby still winning that fight. Right? And Cinder begrudgingly accepting Ruby. And Ruby just gains the power, which means, and Emerald sees this and still has her panic attack. Her semblance overactivating, leading to them escaping. So yeah, I'm ending this part here. With Team Ruby winning, Ruby becoming a Fall Maiden. I could even see Ozpin, and since he is still talkative right now. And knowing that the Fall Maiden in areas in Beacon, which I'm assuming that's the case because every other kingdom we visited had their own maiden and their own relic. And honestly, I think they have the crown because there's a lot of references to that, so yeah. But yeah, I could see Neon's telling them that when we get the chance, we need to go there and get the relic. So then Elam doesn't get the chance to. With Ruby, he also have an imp from gaining the maiden powers, just asking him where the relic's located and how to get there. Has been showing her. And Ruby just runs there. Here, keep in mind, and this entire what if is based off DC speedsters, and you know how fast Barry Allen is in Wally West if you've seen in the Death Battle or comics. But yeah, they are really fast, so I could easily see Ruby just taking the opportunity to run back there and just gather everything she needed. And so yeah. Well, everything. So yeah, I believe they could actually get the relic. And sorry if this one, and I'm ending it here, sorry if this one seemed a little rushed. Pun not intended. And again, I'm going to be working on other what ifs as well, so I'm just trying to make sure I have enough time. I'm just to make up for a lack of posts. I'm gonna take more time with other ones and the other recordings I'll be doing today. Also, I wanted to see if I could at least get this one to where I wanted to. I limit my videos to at least 20 minutes, so if I feel like I'm already halfway there, or if I'm not, I'd start slowing down and rambling a little bit. This is way past the 20-minute mark, I know. I'm just explaining my thought process. I'm trying not to do that, but yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Well, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Oh, and I'll see you for the next part, which I'm in the middle of going through in my head, but I think it might actually be the last part of this what if. So yeah, I'll see you all later. Bye.